I'm going to show you how to take a grocery store pineapple and turn it into your own pineapple plant. I'm going to take you step by step all the way from the grocery store to harvesting your own pineapple. Each step of the way I explain in detail, help you troubleshoot, and help you know when it's time to go to the next step. I've also put in a question and answer section at the end for the most common questions people have when they're just starting to grow these. Let's get into this. By far the coolest thing I'm growing in my garden right now is a pineapple. This is from the store and this is exactly how I started mine. I'm going to show you right now. It starts with a ripe pineapple. A ripe pineapple should smell like a pineapple and there shouldn't be any mold at the bottom. And there's a lot of ways to test for it. The only one I found that works is my nose. If it smells ripe and there's no mold, it's good to go. Also a little bit soft, just a little bit squishy. This looks perfect. We're gonna cut off the whole top. And don't worry, we're gonna eat it. We're not wasting this pineapple. Get our pineapple top. We're gonna take the fruit off of it. I'm gonna cut this. Okay, and then I'm gonna pull off all these lower. It's better. Okay, that's just really hard. I'm ripping off the leaves. These leaves. Oh, that's good. So this is what a root is gonna look like. This one's brown, it's not healthy. But right in here is a root. I'm trying to get about a ½ inch to an inch of this showing. I'm gonna actually cut that bottom bit that I think, yeah, that's better. I wanna see this, where I wanna be able to see these little dots right here. And I wanna get all these leaves off. And then this part's kind of weird, but you're gonna let it dry. So on pineapples, they produce little side shoots and they fall off, dry a little bit, and then they get water and they'll root themselves. So that's what I'm gonna do, is I'm gonna let this dry just a little bit so it doesn't rot. I'm gonna let it heal over maybe 2, maybe 3 days, put it in some water and it should root. It's been a few days and you can see that this part has started to dry out. Now it's time to get this in some water. This is from a store-bought pineapple, and this is a homegrown pineapple. I think this one looks a little better. The easy way to do this, I have some marbles in here, and what that means is I can have a bigger reservoir of water that will allow these roots, when they make them, to grow a little bit deeper. So I put this in. I like a tall, narrow cup so it has a little bit of support. This is the biggest pineapple top I've ever tried to grow. And my goal is the water goes just below this line. So I need more water in here, but I'm just gonna let that one root. I'm gonna put it in my kitchen window, which is north facing, so it gets bright, indirect sunlight. I change the water every 2 to 3 days, and that's key because otherwise the roots will rot. Also, adding fresh water adds oxygen to the water, which is important for healthy root growth. So this, I think it's gonna take about 4 to 6 weeks before I have some roots and can pot it up. This one I brought out just so you could see, but this works really well, how it's holding this. I wonder if it would work well for the bigger one. Let's see. I mean, it does hold it. I mean, it's not bad. I'd have to actually, I'd have to add more water, but it is pretty stable. If you've never rooted anything in water before, I'm going to recommend a clear jar. It just makes it so much easier to see the progress. If the water becomes cloudy, definitely change it. If it turns green or any other color, change it. You want it crystal clear. I put it right above my kitchen sink so that I can see it every day, and it's an easy way for me to check and see if it's time to get to the next stage. This one, we've got some roots showing. Now it's very normal to see a little bit of black mold in here. Now this I've let go too long, so you can see these roots are no longer bright white, but we do have new bright white roots coming on. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this in a pot. This took I want to say about 2 months for it to get roots. And then I've just been holding it for another month because I procrastinate. I'm gonna get it into the soil. My goal is to bury it right here. So this is where I want the soil all the way up on this bottom part. I don't want it touching the green, but I want it just right there. And I'm gonna firm it in really tightly so that it has support, because this is a heavy plant. All right. I'm doing it in a small plastic pot because the first time I did it in a terracotta pot, this one right here, and it worked fine, but the roots got really stuck to the sides and it made it really hard to up pot it. So in a plastic pot, the roots are not gonna get stuck to the sides. There's nothing for it to cling to. I'm gonna know it's time to pot up when I see new growth and when I see roots out the bottom. Now this needs a drink, it's thirsty. I'm gonna just set it in this water right here, and this one's ready to go. I think it is time. There's a few signs to look for to know if your pineapple's ready. It's got a great color. It's got just a little bit, I don't know if you can see, but there's a little bit of give when I press. It's supposed to have a smell, let's see. It smells like pineapple. Moment of truth. Let's eat this. Smells amazing. I want to be able to keep the top to start another pineapple. So, I'm trying to figure out how to grab it. It's too pokey. Nope, that's not gonna work. All right, we're just gonna chop it. Oh yeah. So the middle's like the core, that's pretty hard and you can't eat that part. But the rest of it you should be able to. So we're gonna just it tastes like a pineapple, but it tastes, I want to say like honey or like a flower. This is just a little film tack. So juicy, I've got juice dripping down my arms. Delish. Is it worth it? I would definitely do it to grow one every year just for that delicious treat, but is it worth having to bring in a potted pineapple every year in the winter, find space for it, and then bring it back out? It's kind of a hassle, and potted plants are a lot more work. You are 100% in charge of their water, their food, their location for light, and everything else. So this is a lot of work. This definitely tastes 1,000 times, 1,000 might be too strong. 10 times better than the ones you get at the store. I mean, night and day difference. I'm gonna get canceled. I don't taste a huge difference between store tomatoes and garden tomatoes. This is a big difference. A really big difference between this and the store. So I'm gonna try to grow 3 this year. I think 3, and then if it's too much for me, I'll trade it and get something else in return. So yeah, I think it's worth it. I made a list of common questions. How long does it take? The answers is going to depend, but I'm going to give you some guidelines so you have an idea. Once you have the top, it takes somewhere between 4 and 6 weeks before you have enough roots to put it in a pot. Once you have it in a pot, it takes somewhere between 6 months and a year. Now that really is environment dependent. It likes warm, humid, and not too bright. Like it does like sunshine, but it doesn't want to be burnt in our Texas sun. It takes somewhere between 6 months and a year before you're gonna see your first little flower, which is your indication that you're gonna get a fruit. And the bigger the pot you put it in, if you keep up potting it every few weeks, every, about 6 to 12 weeks, you're gonna get a really big pineapple. I didn't know that mine was gonna fruit. I thought I was gonna take another year. So mine was in a smaller pot than I should have been, which is why the fruit I have is smaller than you see in the grocery stores. I know for next time I'm gonna keep potting it up until it's a pretty big, probably 18 inches across pot, one of those like half whiskey barrels, the what are those tubs from the ranchers? You know, do you know what I'm talking about? The mineral tubs from the ranchers. I'd keep potting that up. It took mine 3 years to fruit because I kept it in this pot for over a year, which was really not good for it. Can you pot it in the ground? No, you cannot put it in the ground here in Texas. You have to bring it inside in the winter, and it's kind of a pain to take it in and out because these spikes, oh, these little babies, these are sharp, and then they have little serrated edges as they get bigger that will just grab onto you. So it's not the most pleasant task to bring it in and out. Once you see the flower, it takes, you know, I don't know, I'm going to put it on the screen because I video documented it, but I think it takes about 6 months for it to fully ripen. So it's going to take, the whole process start to finish is somewhere between 18 months and 3 years, depending on how good you are at potting it up, how diligent you are at feeding it, all of those things. I fed mine just some garden tone about once a month to keep it happy and healthy. I have not looked deeply into what fertilizer is best for this, but it worked for me. This was good enough. When you put this in the water, you're gonna see new little thick shoots come out. That is good. You're also probably gonna see some black mold around here. That is very normal, it's fine. And it might get like a little bit slimy and gross. That happened on every single one of mine so far, but they eventually made it past that stage and have made it to good healthy roots. And we're gonna make some more pineapples. All right, guys, I hope this was helpful. If you enjoy a concise, beautiful video, it takes me a lot of time to get beautiful, clear shots. I would appreciate if you would comment or share this video around, and I'll keep making them. Bye. I'm gonna enjoy my pineapple. Wrong pace. Delish.